What's up, everyone? Welcome to Skybees. All right, here we are again for another episode, and we've got a little bit of a doozy planned today. So, I did go ahead and get some of the books like I told you guys we were going to do in the last episode. If we look at books, and my caps lock is on, I did break down all of the different armor pieces and tools that we had and took the stuff off of them. Oh, we got a soul speed book. That's cool. And so now we have protection for mending unbreaking on our chest plate, and then we have unbreaking protection and icy thorns on our leggings. Again, all of this will come in handy later on when we are fighting some of the late game mobs, right? I did also go through and complete the Flux Networks um, section of our advancement book. We had to make the basic, the Herculean, and the Gargantuan flux storage, and we had to make the configurator. Um, if we look at the actual mod, the recipes for these are pretty easy. The basic one is just Fluix blocks and then glass panes. The Herculean one is 6 basic fluid tanks and then some glass panes, and then the Gargantuan is 6 of the previous tier and some glass panes. We ended up needing something like 219 blocks of Fluix or of Flux. So we sat here and put our Flux block down and we smashed a bunch of redstone, and we did that. We completed that section. I did do some more work in. Maybe I didn't. Titania, no. Oh, I was looking into finishing up the Powa mod, which we need to make the basic energy cables. We need to make the starter cell. Um, and then we need to make the Ender Gate. We can finish this one up easy. I did start looking at what we had left for these. We are going to need to set these bees up and at least get some honeycombs processed for them. And I don't think we're going to set these guys up in like huge apiaries and stuff like that. We will use like an apiary tier 1 just so we can do it, but yeah, I did look into extended crafting a little bit. We can't do that. And then refined storage, I was like, well, we got the auto crafting stuff. And then we have, the importer and exporter and then an interface. But I forgot about this little section over here with all of the disks all the way to the infinite storage part, which in of itself is a huge craft. So to do something like this, we are going to need to set up some automation. That's not really the reason I want to set up automation. I'm going to go ahead and focus on this side of our RF, or I'm sorry, our refined storage, and maybe make these just to complete this page, and we'll have to finish this up later. Applied Energistics, I did go ahead and break like the inscriber, and we had 3 of the 4 presses, so I made the last one, and we have the charger complete. We needed those for refined storage anyway. A lot of this stuff, honestly, I don't know if we're going to go down this route because we're not using AE2. I do want to complete all of the quests in this pack, but this seems kind of silly to make a whole nother storage system just to complete it, right? Mechanism is something we're going to get into a lot later. We do have some basic stuff for RF tools here. We did get some dimensional shard last episode, but again, this is a whole nother page and another episode. We are going to need to go do some serious mob hunting eventually. That is what the hunting dimension is for. But today we are going to get into some auto crafting. So the first thing that we need to make is a crafter, which I have queued up here. And we're going to need to make probably a couple of these, right? The next thing that we need to make is a crafting manager, which of course is going to use 2 crafters. So we're going to need to make a couple more crafters. I don't know why I'm doing that. Machine casings, I have 10 of them. I've just now used 5 of them to make the crafting manager. We may have to make some more machine casings, but it's not a big deal. So we do need, let's see, let's look at our quest, because we need to make patterns, but we need to make the pattern grid first. Okay. So pattern grid is an advanced processor and a grid. Do we have what it takes to make a grid? We do. Do we have what it takes to make a pattern? We do. So let's go ahead and make the pattern grid, which unlocks the pattern quest, but we don't have it on us anymore, so we can make one. Let's go ahead and actually make another one, and then we can make the crafting monitor. Good. So, we have just blazed through this side. We need the storage monitor, which was the last thing that I have here. Um, again, this uses another machine casing, which I do believe we're getting low on. We don't necessarily need all these things. We are going to need the pattern grid. We are going to need the crafters. The crafting monitor is a good thing to have. I'm not sure what the crafting manager is, but the storage monitor we definitely don't need. I am going to go ahead and make the crafting upgrade, which will allow our crafters or importers and exporters to craft, which we're going to go ahead and make these because they're real easy crafts. We have all this stuff and it's in the refined storage system, so it's just easy to make, right? And then the last thing that we need is an interface which uses those guys. We'll throw that guy in there. We'll throw the crafting upgrade in there, and we will look for some cable. Okay. We're going to need some more of that. Cable. And it is the refined storage right here. So let us make that much. Sure. Okay. So we need to... Excuse me. I hiccuped. We are going to need to set up an area for our crafters. Now, the neat thing about these crafters, I'm going to set them up right here. I think this is a good spot as any is you can actually have these facing a machine and you put patterns in here. You can have these facing a machine and you can make a processing pattern, which I'll show you guys later, that will go ahead and use like furnaces and stuff like that to make items. And eventually we're going to use that to set up automation of the different presses. But we do need to connect this up to our refined storage system via these cables. And now that they are lit up with the blue color, they are now hooked up. So what we want to do is we want to get our pattern grid, which we're going to set there. We're probably going to set our crafting monitor on top of this guy, which is going to get rid of the luminescence. And we're going to need to put some kind of torch, which I don't think I actually have. Oh, I do. Okay, the game hiccuped for just a second. I'm not sure what the crafting manager does, because this is the crafting monitor that shows you like the process of your crafts. Oh, this just allows us to move. Like if we had a ton of crafters, these crafters will notify what block they're facing, which these aren't, and then you can move your patterns around. So right now as it sits, we don't need this guy, so we're going to put it away. Okay. So what I want to automate is the tier 4 apiary. This guy right here, doing all the crafts for this thing, going through the different tiers, getting the tier 4 beehives and stuff like this is going to be a process. So we have grass growing. That is the biggest reason I've got that growing. And we're going to need to start with some pretty basic stuff. So looking at this, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 patterns. So let's go ahead and craft ourselves up 10 patterns. We are going to put them in the crafting grid. Now, if you wanted to make a processing pattern, which would be a furnace or something like that, you would click this guy and then you put your items, what it starts out and what it turns into. This is a crafting recipe here, and this box ticked exact means it has to use these items. And the first thing that I want to teach this how to make is the honeycomb blocks. And we do want this one to use only the honeycombs, not anything else. And so now, if we were to go put this in the crafter, we can now craft up a honeycomb block. So if we search for honeycomb, we have one block. We can go ahead and left click on this and we can say, go ahead and craft me up 2, start, and it does it really fast. And we have honeycomb blocks. Now we need that for the tier 4 beehives, and then I do believe that we need it, yep, for the tier 1 apiaries. We need honeycomb blocks for the tier 2, and then we move into another star with another honeycomb block, and then finally for the tier 4 apiary, we need that. So that is the base craft that we need, and we have 6.2k of these. For things like these tier 4 apiaries, we're going to see how many we can actually craft once we get all the auto crafting set up, and then we will try it, or like I said, try it. And if we can make 2 or 3 of these, we're good. So the next thing we need to teach it how to make is the beehive, but we are going to need to teach this thing how to make wood. So I'm actually going to need one more pattern here. And we can put this guy in this slot, and then we are going to take, looks like we have more dark oak than anything. So we're going to use that to make dark oak. And then we are going to take, we can't. We're going to take a little bit of dark oak for ourselves. And then in the processing pattern, we're going to click this in. We're going to click these items out. And then we're going to use the dark oak, and I'm going to untick the exact. So it'll use any oak or any wood plank. Then we need the tier 2 beehive, which is going to use this beehive. I want this exact to use this beehive. And then it's just a bunch of clicking after that. We have beeswax. We have honeycomb blocks. I want to take these out and put these in. Just making sure we're good. The tier 3, we will do the same thing, and we will click these guys out, and we will look up honey. We'll make sure that we're using this honeycomb block, and I'm going to just keep those on my inventory. That is the tier 3. Now the tier 4, same thing. You guys are getting it, right? This is how we do. Pattern, tier 1 apiary. And we're going to do this all the way up to the tier 4. Now, if you notice, there's only 9 slots in these crafters. So if we want to use more than this crafter, we're going to have to make more crafters. We are going to put our dark oak in here. It's going to use more dark oak than anything else. We could teach this how to make any log into wood, but since we have more dark oak, we will. We have a beehive. We have a tier 1 beehive, we have a tier 2 beehive, tier 3, tier 4, and then I'm going to put the tier 1 apiary in here. We're going to put the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 apiary in there. Perfect. So now, if we go into our system and we looked up tier 4, let's see if we can craft one of these. Missing 5,065 honeycomb blocks. We have everything else that we need, but our Minecraft bees are not something that we are getting. We pulled them out, so it looks like everything else, 2,048 available of this, which is exactly how many we need. Cancel. Let's go ahead and see if we could craft 2 of those. We have everything we need but the honeycombs, which means we are going to need couple tier 1 apiaries, which we can craft. Okay? So we're going to let it do its thing. This is where the crafting monitor comes in handy because it shows you what it's doing. It's crafting honeycomb blocks. It's crafting tier 3 and tier 4 beehives. It has everything else that it needs. I have some of these stored. And what we're going to do is I'm going to set up a Minecraft bee in here, 2 of them, and set up 2 of them in there with apiaries. And then we're not going to send the items into there. We are going to probably send the items directly into this guy here. So, yeah, let us grab some honeycomb blocks, and hopefully this will speed up the process. I may take and spread out some Minecraft bees, vanilla bees in all of this area here, but we're going to need to go AFK to get quite a bit of these. So let's look up tier. We have 2 tier 1 apiaries. That's nice. We could tear out these tier 1 apiaries and make a tier 2 apiary, but I don't see the point in that. So now it's time to grab some flowers, preferably the poppies, which you got to click on this. And we're going to get our vanilla Minecraft bees, which are sitting in a crate over here. And we're going to set all of this up. Now, we did just what we've done with everything else, and we set up a couple of Minecraft bees here. We set up a couple here. They're pollinating and doing their thing. We set up the item routers underneath, as we've done so many times before, which I really like these things. But what I've done differently here is I've set up these senders and these pullers to only pull the honeycombs. Really, I don't need that on the puller because it can just pull everything from this module here. But I'm going to have a different sending module for when I put things in like creeper bees and stuff like that. We want them sending to the centrifuge, and then the centrifuge sending over to our drawer system. So now we need to wait for a long time. We need 5,000 more honeycombs, and they're coming in rather quickly. I think an AFK session overnight should run us pretty close, and that's what we may do. Of course, this bee wants to be silly. Oh, I guess he can't go in there because only 1 bee of each type at a time. I may actually get like a tier 4 beehive, which can hold 16 bees and it can have 20 honeycombs. We may just do that and set up 1 tier 4 beehive, in the apiary here, and just have a ton of Minecraft bees. That might be the way to do it. I think we only have 6 of them because I have 4 here, and then the rest of them are in here. There's 1. Yeah, we have 6. But really, a normal bee shouldn't be that hard. Bee spawn egg. How did we get bees in the very beginning? I don't even honestly remember. Um, Hope some bugs, and yeah, I don't remember how we got our hands on our very first bees. Oh yeah, I do. It's the buzzing doll. Yeah, that's how we spawned in our first 2. So we could take and just breed these guys up, or we can let this thing run like it is. Right now we're sitting at 5,891. So there's 5,907. We'll just kind of let this thing go. Setting up a scraper and that whole system is kind of a pain. But while we wait for this to um, come to fruition, I want to get into some wireless crafting. So to do that, we are going to need a wireless crafting grid, which does require a crafting grid itself, which is this guy right here, which requires a grid. And then we need this guy, which we don't have the crafting table, but we should have the stuff to make it. we now have the crafting grid, and now to make the wireless version done. It's not a quest or anything, but I wanted to make it nonetheless. Now, if I am correct, we have to link this guy with this. And there is no wireless transmitter, and we also have to get power to this thing. So, wireless transmitter. Pretty easy craft. If we have one more machine casing, which doesn't look like we can do in here. Wow. So steel plates, iron, and then we need some stone. We have 2K, and then we're going to need ourselves a crafting table. I think we have to do this craft for whatever reason in here. No, it's in the basic crafting table. Oh, you got to pay attention to that stuff, right? So, was it like this? Nope. Nope. That is quartz enriched iron, not iron ingots. Let's look at that recipe one last time. Okay, let us get that, which we have plenty of that stuff. Right here. So I am going to make, I don't know, 10 more of these guys just so we have them. And we'll pull all this stuff out. Perfect. Okay, now a wireless transmitter we can get. We are going to need a network transmitter. We are going to need a network receiver. We are also going to need a network card. And then we are going to need some of these range upgrades, but we will deal with that momentarily. Let's get rid of the rain. Now what I want to do is kind of go central of my base, right? And we're going to have a network receiver here. We're going to take our network card and shift click it, which is linked. We are then going to put our network transmitter. We can put it anywhere on the network, and then we can put in the card. So now what we should be able to do is place in our wireless transmitter right here. And now that is a valid thing. Crafting grid is out of energy, so let's rectify that situation here with our wireless charging. And we should just use, I guess our main hand, apply. And now it is crafted. Now the wireless transmitter is out of range because it has a max range, if we click on it, of 16 blocks. So now we can use this to do all of our crafting here. And if we get fancy with it, we can come into our controls and look up crafting and open wireless crafting monitor. Open wireless crafting grid is Control G. So let's see. Now we just set it to Z. We can dump our stuff in here. Really, really nice. I like it. And now what we need to do is go into controls and look up key, see what else Z is bound to, because it's bound to the hotbar swapper, which I am going to 2 on the, yeah, sure, done. This way we don't have that annoying thing coming up every time. Okay, so now it's time to craft ourselves up 4 of these range upgrades. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, right now, our network is using 179 FE per tick. This is going to boost it significantly. 48 blocks is what our crafting range is, but our network is using 211 forge energy, which is cool. We still have a really good thermal generator down here that we can see we are still positive by 300 FE. We're not losing any energy, and we have 128 million stored in our gargantuan storage. So, with all of that being said, I don't think at the far reaches of the base will this reach. It will. That's what we wanted. We wanted to be able to be anywhere in our base, and we can now access our crafting from here. And if we go to our tier 4, we can actually request crafts from here. That is awesome. So wireless crafting done, auto crafting for the patterns done, and now I think it's time to just AFK really, because I think the last part of today's episode is I want to get these tier 4 apiaries set up, and then we're probably going to have to do some work on these old centrifuges because they're keeping up right now, but they're going to slow down very quickly. So the choice has to be made. Do we set up a beehive and get a bunch of these guys pollinating the beehive, or do we leave the apiary set up? And though this is working and working well, I think it's going to be faster to actually set up a tier 4 beehive, one of these guys, than it is to wait. Because we can breed up the bees, we can get all the flowers, we can do all the things. I do believe that means we're going to have to set up our dispenser and a scraper, which we have all of that stuff still in here. I don't know if we have the scraper. We don't. I threw those away. But we only need one, and it's a very easy thing for us to get. Clock is easy enough for us to get. And then we're going to need our item collector. I wonder if this guy will be better. What I want to do is also grab some mana glass. We want to grab our jars because we don't want to upset our bees. And then we're going to go in here and grab you. And we're going to wait for this guy to come out. That's a lot of ticks in the apiary, so it's a much better idea to get them in the beehive. Using the apiary feature here, I had the bee in here and I just locked them, and then I put a jar in here and I pulled them out. So we don't have to wait for this guy to come out. We can then set up this guy. I'm going to remove this apiary storage, and we're going to set up our dispenser here with our scraper. You know the guy, you know the routine. We're going to put our beehive here, and then I'm going to change the way that we do things. We'll have some flowers around this thing. I'm hoping, I'm hoping that having the beehive here will be fine, but I think what we're going to want to do, they're mad at us, is we're going to want to put our clock down, then our dispenser, then our beehive. Bring this thing up off the ground just a little bit. Put our scraper in, and then get some flowers, and get our other bees. Because we're going to want to breed these guys up, right? So let's grab our other Minecraft bee, which was this guy, and then this guy. And luckily, we don't even need our crafting table in our hand. We can do this. It only needs it in our hand when these guys are or when we're needing to charge it. We're going to turn this thing down to 20. We're going to do that. We're going to have a large signal strength. And then we are going to put our basic item collector here. Nope, that isn't going to work. So let's get a crate. And I'm guessing Mana Glass will work. We are going to want to set our crate somewhere like right here. And then the item collector on top of that. And then we're going to want to take our puller and... Oh, yeah. Something to do with this creative flight. It does not want to work when I shift and hold spacebar at the same time. So that works now. This guy is collecting stuff. We want this thing to be a 7x7 area. Sure, that's fine. That should collect everything over here. We could move this over by one and have it collecting a 5x5 area. We only want it to, on the Y direction, 3 is fine. So it looks like everybody's calmed down. Let's place our bees, start breeding, and really get this thing rolling. I did try to use this apiary breeder over here to breed some of these bees. We've been AFK for a little while. We've managed to get, I think we're like at 12 bees or something like that. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, 12. And some of them have grown up, so we just need to get 4 more bees. But regular Minecraft bees will not click into this breeder here, which is kind of weird. I put poppies in here. I tried to put jars in here. I had the empty jars for the bees and tried to place them in here. It would not work. I don't know. So we're not doing that. We're just going to get a bunch of bees and, you know, we're sitting at 5,947 honeycombs, which is close to what we were at before. We've only done, what I forgot was I was AFKing for a while to let these guys cool down, which is 5 minutes, but it was nighttime. So we got to make sure that we're sleeping the night away while these guys are in a regular beehive. In the apiaries, they don't care. They don't care if it's day or night. They do their thing. The clicking is very annoying, and we can put down the soundproofing, but this kind of gets weird with how things are working. So, you know, that's better. Yeah, we'll leave that there. We'll throw all of this stuff back in here. Eventually, we'll utilize this guy. And what I think I'm going to do while I'm AFKing is I'm going to go ahead and have a look through this quest line here and get things like the snowball bee and the silicone bee, which I've already done, the skeleton bee, which I have, and just get some of these bees at least a couple of items so we can at least get the honeycombs and send them over to the centrifuge, and then we're not going to do anything with them outside of that, really. Yeah. So hopefully that centrifuge can reach this crate right here. I will break this cable here, and we will have to do some work, but we're going to go AFK and try to collect more and more honeycomb. I don't know. This thing hasn't sent a comb yet. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there's 19 honeycombs in there. Oh, I had it already up. So it's going to wait till there's 20 honeycombs in there? And that will be the honey level 5, and then it will harvest it? Hmm. Okay. Well, let's get some other bees set up. Now we're going through a pretty hefty process while we're waiting for guys to go, and before I spend an evening AFK, I decided to grab some of my bees out of the box and start just getting the honeycombs for them so we can get the quest complete, right? So zombie, icy, snowball require poppies. We have an osmium bee, which requires a block of osmium. The creeper requires this gunpowder sack, which is just 9 gunpowder. The skeleton obviously requires a bone block. The silicone requires a block of quartz, and then the prismarine bee requires prismarine, which we actually had to break out the sieves and sift sand. But this fluorite bee requires fluorite ore. And the way we do that is through a combiner from Mechanism. So I need to craft up all of these reinforced alloys, which you need 2 for the elite control circuit. So in total, we need 8. That means we need 8 infused alloys with diamond dust. We need 2 diamond dusts at a pop, so we need 16 crushed diamonds. And then the infused alloys are just iron and redstone, which we are currently making. And I decided just to make a stack, might as well. We will roll some osmium through with redstone, and we're also sitting over here just cranking the quartz grindstone to get the diamond dust. Now we could make a crusher from Mechanism, which is probably something we should make. If we look up the recipe for that, it shouldn't be too bad, really. No, it's not. It's a steel casing, some lava, which we have, and some basic control circuits, which we're going to make. That's the osmium with the redstone, which I should just go ahead and grab 8 redstone that we need. And it would make this process a lot faster than just sitting here, but we have time. A couple of day cycles have passed, and we're over 6,000, but we've still got 5,000 honeycombs to go. So I'm going to get these bees going, and we'll see how far we get. Just as I was going to start recording, it started raining, so I turned the sounds off because it is nighttime, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So we did an overnight AFK session, and we got about 1,500 worth of honeycombs. The reason I wanted to wait till nighttime was because you can see that the apiary is still working. These bees are doing their thing. They're collecting their pollen. That they don't care what time of day it is. But using these beehives, it's just like vanilla Minecraft, where the bees will stay in there at night. And so while we're AFKing, we are actually losing each night cycle for these bees. So we're not getting these in as fast as I would like, meaning we're going to need to AFK a lot or change up our system. Now, if we look at the tier beehives, this one has a hive modification time of negative 20%, a max honeycombs of 20, and max bees of 16. And our tier 2 beehive that we were using before has a max honeycomb of 8, hive time is 10%, and it can have 6 bees. I had one of these going, and I got the 5,000 honeycombs that we had, right? So a few different things are going on. Minecraft bees, just vanilla bees going into these apiaries, as you guys saw in the last couple of clips, they take a very long time to do their duties and get honeycombs, and we only get so many of them at a time. I also look through here at the honeycomb block. This thing is not made or cannot be processed in the centrifuge, no matter if we click on the uses or the recipes, like we have right here for the honeycomb. So I don't know if putting a bee in a tier 4 apiary would give us the honeycomb blocks, or if it would still give us honeycombs. I'd imagine it'd get honeycomb blocks, but we'd have to send those over to the system. Now the problem is we need honeycomb blocks to get to the tier 4 apiary. So we're going to have to try something different. Now, I could set my guy right here and try to get him to just right-click on a bed, and I don't know how well that's going to work. I might have to move it up a little bit, and then we could potentially have us sleeping through the sleep cycle and let these guys do their business. The other thing that I think is going on is this has to have 20 honeycombs in it before it can be harvested, where this has to have 8. So 6 bees going in and out of this thing. It's pretty quick. We could go down to a tier 1 beehive, which has no time modification, but it is less bees, and we could just have more of them. So there are many, many things to think about. The other thing that we are going to try to do, and I'm going to do it in between episodes, is I'm going to take some of these tier 2 beehives, and I'm going to take them to the end. As you guys know from other mod packs, the end is always day, right? So if bees will go in and out of their hives and pollinate, then we don't have to worry about it, and we can just bring stuff to the overworld. I do believe. Hmm. That we will have to look up something. I thought we had like the Ender chest or the Ender tank, but I don't think we do in this mod pack. Nope, it does not look like it, which is unfortunate because that was an easy way to send stuff back and forth between the End and the Nether to the overworld. We do have a quantum ring. Quantum bedrock, quantum compressor. We do have a quantum entangler, which we'd have to dive heavy into Mekanism to get to getting the refined obsidian and stuff. And the quantum entangler allows us to send items back and forth. And then we have these quantum bags from quantum storage. Is there... It's not called a tesseract. It is. But this is the same thing as a quantum entangler. I don't know. We'll have to definitely look through some of our books and stuff and see what we can do. Now, the other thing that I did do is I did go through this chest here and pull out all of these bees and place them over here into this apiary, and we collected up some honeycombs. We collected some very needed honeycombs, I should say. And I'm going to process these osmium ones because we need osmium ingots. Because I'm going to need an osmium bee, and we need another block of osmium. This way we can actually set this guy up and have him start producing osmium for us. We did set up a drawer for it, and if we're going to dive heavy into Mekanism, we're going to need more osmium. So we're going to set him up over in this apiary here because I only have 8 bees in there. That will work out perfect. And if we do take a look into our bee page here, you will see that we have a lot of these things ticked off, but we still have things like salt and raw uranite. We have constantan, sulfur, terrasteel, refined obsidian, and glowstone. We have RGB. We have rock crystal. We have ghast. We have elementium, and somewhere manasteel. So we need to get some of these bees going and just get their honeycombs. I don't think we need a lot of these set up. These two are from Mekanism, so these might be worth looking into setting up as well. I'll have to go through and look and see where we might need terrasteel and elementium, but those bees, if I'm correct, terrasteel bee is going to require us to have a block of terrasteel, which is 9 terrasteel ingots, and that is a lot of mana, and that is a lot of Botania. Because we have like 3 mana pools that are almost full. I don't know why this mana pool honestly is empty. It should be just as full as these. So to make terrasteel, you need a half a mana pool per ingot. So we would need all 4 of these full plus a half. Yeah. So a lot of things to do, but that is all the time we have for today's episode. I'm going to do a little bit of testing with these guys in the end. Jump over into a creative world, and we'll see what we come up with. And I think next episode we'll come back and we will dive further into the bees. That's what this pack is about, right? Bees. So I'd like to finish out the bee page. We're very close to getting it. So as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button. Hit the notification bell so you can get notified when videos like this come out. Consider subscribing if you're new. Check the description down below for all of the different ways to follow me, including Twitter, Twitch, and a link to my Discord. It's all down below. And I will see you guys on the next one.